Welcome to Famous When I'm Dead, where creators share with you the tools so you can thrive while you're still alive. Ha 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 ha. I've always wanted to do that laugh. So today, by the way, I'm your host, Sam King Davis. You can find, if you want to stay up to date on our interviews, you can go to our Facebook page. You can follow us on Instagram at famous_when_I'm_dead. And if you have any questions or suggestions for guests or whatever, you can send that to famouswhenimdead@kingdavisart.com. All of that stuff, along with anything that we talk about, will be in the show notes below. And today we have a very special guest. Most people know that I live in the Czech Republic. I'm from St. Louis, but I live in the Czech Republic. And I met this amazing oil painter we have here with us today, Jiri Horacek. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
Horacek.
Was just right.
Super. I won't try. I'll leave it there. I won't try to pronounce the last.
Jiri Horacek. But it's kind
Jiri Horacek. Okay. Yeah. So Jiri is living here in Prague, and one of the things that I really like about your work is that you see the beauty and you see the story in ordinary moments. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's the best way I could describe your work. For the people who are watching the podcast or who are watching the YouTube channel, will see a slideshow of your work in the beginning. And maybe if we talk about specific pieces, I'll put those up on the screen for the YouTube. And if you're listening to audio, just pop over and watch the YouTube intro and you'll see some of the work. Or you can check Jiri out at I think it's just your Instagram is just Jiri Horacek. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be in the
yeah. In the description. Will be all.
Yeah. It'll be in the notes, so you can click on it if you're in the audio version of the podcast. So how you doing, man? You want to introduce yourself or?
Yeah. I like something popped in my head that my way to getting into the art and kind of being creative person and loving painting and just drawing and doing digital stuff, it was like really rough way to get into it because I started first high school and I was there like for 2 years and it was like something which I kind of hated. It was like just with engineering, like math, and I was like, it was something which I really didn't expect it to be that hard and that out of my like world.
You mean art school?
No, it was an engineering school. High school for 2 years, and it was like something which it was really difficult for me. I couldn't be there for any longer. I just couldn't, and so I then started like second high school.
I didn't leave the interview.
Yeah, I was
I'm like, I'm bored already.
I was a little bit worried. Where are you going? But I started second high school, and I was there for 2 years, and as well, it was like total disaster. So I was like, what should I do? Like, what I like the people around me were like, what will you be doing in life? You need to study, you need to finish some school and make some money. Just and I was like completely desperate, like what should I do? And then I kind of come back to my love of like drawing when I was a young child or young human. I kind of loved it. The time just drawing and imagining stuff, imagining some scenes with dozens of small figures and some mechanisms, like technical, almost like technical drawing, but it was more about like story and imagining all the fancy words. So I came back to that idea, and yeah, that was the only one thing I knew that kind of I liked. So then I tried like the third high school, which was the art school, and yeah, like once I got there, which was kind of luck, but yeah, once I got there, it was like paradise. I felt I did the right thing, finally,
So I want to go back to your story, but I actually have a question.
Okay.
How can I word this? I think the question is like, what would you say is the most fake romantic idea about being an artist? Because there's this kind of mysticism around artists, and I think people have this romantic idea or this Hollywood stereotype of what it's like to be an artist. And I'm just wondering like, when you think about that, like what stereotype or what kind of fantasy would you like to tell the audience is not true about being an artist?
No, it's not easy, and I would like to say I'm not like artist. Like that I'm oil painter. That I live from oil painting. Yeah, I'm not that good of an artist, or I don't have clients around me, or I don't have any works in galleries. So I'm
This
mostly
is the mark for the audience, by the way. This is the mark of a really good artist. They always say that they're not very good.
Yeah,
Wait
but
till you see paintings, then you'll know. Yeah.
yeah. So thank you. But whatever. I mostly do like digital work, so I live from that. So you talked about the kind of the fantasies and the romanticism. I think it's kind of easy to think that you are really special and really awesome, even though you are at the beginning and you know nothing about all the other artists and all the things you have to do, like because you have to do so much to in order to be like to be seen, to be like, because it's not about only just about making the art but as well about presenting yourself, and that's like not that fun for me. That not much fun for me, kind of business side,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like really important part of it. So, and as well there's like so many people who want to do it, especially nowadays, but few can like realistically do it, so
Mm-hmm.
you need, I would say these days I think it's good to have some message, an extra message you want to tell people, and if it resonates with them, you kind of get some attention, and you can your art has to be some kind of valuable to other people.
Mm-hmm.
We can do a fantasy illustration or whatever, but maybe it has nothing to tell. So so that's why concept art is maybe better. If you want to do fantasy, then it's good. But like the high art, I mean, I've never like got into it. So and I really even maybe don't even like want to. I
What do you
don't
mean
know.
by high art?
Like selling art in art galleries and
Mm.
going to exhibitions.
Mm. Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't like got into it really that. So yeah, I really like maybe being part of a team. So there's like more people around me, and not just like for myself. I'm creating this art and buy it.
Yeah.
I like more like being in service to others. So that's like even these days, like for me, like a huge team. To serve others, not just me, because I would like to create like my fancy little landscapes, but maybe it's not much in a service. Like it's beautiful, but um, especially these days, I think when's the coronavirus here, then I mean more important stuff.
But that is by itself human service, I think, is to create things that are beautiful because there's designer, I don't remember the name, but they say that beauty is a human right. And I think the thing about your paintings specifically is that you're finding it. Okay, I'm going to try to not talk about myself so much here because I can relate so much to your eye. Like when I look at your paintings, it's like that's something I would have taken a picture of when I was still shooting in film. And because you're just looking at ordinary scenes, but you're like seeing something. And there's something about the fact that you sat there for however many hours with oil and like painted the underside of that bridge and the way the light is hitting it, for example, in Prague 4. And when people see that you like, first off, they can just look at it and right away feel it. But then secondly, there's another thought, which is like someone sat there and painted that. So like they must see something. So then it makes them look even more like, what did they see? Is it the way the light kind of like bleeds over that shadow? Or, obviously
Yes.
most non-artists don't really think about that technical stuff, but there is a feeling there, there's like and I think that I guess my point is like that really is a service because I think what that does is it trains people to think like when they see certain things like, oh, there's beauty in this. Like there's beauty in this like broken down yard with like trash and graffiti, like people can
Yeah,
so
I think it makes you kind of appreciate very simple stuff like small details, and it's basically about being grateful for what is. I love just taking walks and just or look outside the window and see the light. Just the trees, and yeah, it's kind of like meditation for me. I appreciate the world visually, and yeah, with the service, yeah, like art is, I think, one of the like highest or how should I put it? Like it's it's not like necessary for people like to survive. So yeah, but yeah, the art is important for like it's really important for people. Like there is something about it which kind of
elevates.
elevates. It's even in that level that kind of words are not enough to describe it.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, as you talk about attention, and that I like stand there for I don't know 2 to 3 hours and just watch that scene, and people like come around me and notice me or don't notice me, but I think everyone notices that I'm painting something which caught my attention. So if I'm making so much effort, then it has to be like there has to be something there.
Yeah.
And kind of it sparkles the curiosity, and people like, and I love that about the art, that people kind of like, oh, what's that? I live this life and then I see this man who's doing that. Why is he doing that? And I think that's like really great kind of maybe pointer of your attention to something else than just your day-to-day life, which is as well important, but sometimes you can look and see something else in your because people go there every day maybe, and they saw it so many times that they notice it. But
Yeah.
I guarantee you that you can go there every day, and every single day you can see something else, something which you didn't expect. And it's just about, maybe being less in your head and a little bit more like observing the
Yeah,
world.
more mindful.
Yeah, that's kind of popular these days. Mindful.
Mindful, yeah.
Yeah, but it makes sense, it's good to think about stuff, but it's also good to like when someone listens to you, or when you speak to someone else, it's good to pay attention, to that person, and just
What? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
yeah, exactly.
So, let's go back to when you started drawing and stuff. Did you originally kind of like, you know what? Let me save that question. I have a different one. Um, what was the thing about getting into art and like being an artist that you encountered that you didn't expect? Like a challenge that you didn't see coming, or something that was like much harder than you thought it would be?
Okay, so one thing which popped in my head is that even though I love it, making art and doing it, sometimes it's really difficult, and I have to discipline myself. Just it's not like I'm passionate about it. I will do it like it takes nothing. No, it takes effort. To do it, and sometimes it's kind of like painful, and I don't want to work today. I would do other stuff, and even though I love it, sometimes I just feel like, oh gosh, it's like, I don't know. And as well, like, yeah, as you said, I can be, as I feel it in myself, I can be super romantic about it. Like, I can fly high in this concept, but then you have to go back on the
Down to
ground
earth.
and see that some people doesn't care about you at all.
Yeah.
Most of the
Yeah.
people.
That was a reality too that I had to face as a young artist. Like I would spend all this time on a really great painting or something, and then I would show people and I'm like, oh, they're gonna love it. And people are like, yeah. They're totally unimpressed. You're like, but you don't understand. Let me explain. It's like, no, I don't have time.
Yeah, so and as well, like in my job, like you have to deal with clients, and I like to be in company, so I don't have to deal with clients and just with our director. So that's like he takes care of that client work, which is like, and if you want to be freelancer, then kind of schedule the work. It's not my cup of tea, I would say. So being in a studio, it's kind of safer, but as well can be more mundane, or I don't know, less freedom.
So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more questions with Jiri.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for watching Famous When I'm Dead podcast. This episode and all future episodes are going to be available on any one of your favorite podcast apps. I'll also be making all of my interviews from last year available as we move forward. This podcast is free for you to listen to, but it is not free for me to produce. Currently, it's about $140 a month to produce this podcast, and I hope I can keep my video editor. So I want to give a shout out to the patrons, Tom Lambert and Lynne Davis at the $10 level, Chance McGee at the $5 level. You can find him on Instagram at Chance McGee Kunst. If you are still listening at this point, chances are that you do get value out of this podcast. If you are able to and you want to show us some love, be sure to pop over to our Patreon page. It's Patreon, patreon.com/famous-when-I'm-dead. The link will be in the description below. If you're strapped for cash and you still want to show us some love and support, make sure that you share the podcast with friends, family. Maybe you have students that might be interested in hearing the stories of these professional artists. So make sure you go to Instagram at famous_when_I'm_dead and stay up to date on all the new exciting stuff we got going on. Thanks for watching, and be sure to leave us a thumbs up and a comment below. Welcome back. So let's go back a little bit to when you got started. Like, were you starting with painting or drawing or markers or just everything, or what? What year were you born?
What? Where?
What year? What's your birth year?
What year? 91.
Okay, so right, for everyone listening, for those people, for the old guys that are still calling the Czech Republic Czechoslovakia, and for everyone who doesn't already know, like, communism essentially ended in '89. That's around the same time as the fall of the Berlin Wall, and then the Velvet Divorce happened in '91, where Czechoslovakia became the Czech Republic and Slovakia, so they split. So you were born right when things like changed completely.
Yeah.
And you grew up in that genesis of like the new Czech Republic.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't remember basically anything. So yeah, for me, I have to trust that it happened.
Oh yeah, you weren't there, yeah.
I have to trust historians that it happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that the world changed and I was born. And that's why. That's why it changed.
If you would just, yeah, exactly. You just change that around. I was born and the world changed. Yeah, cool.
Because new life.
Well, I don't know if you know him, but Tan May, he's an Indian guy. He does sketching.
Yes.
Yeah. So when he was getting started, he grew up in a pretty poor part of India. So he was like basically just starting with a pencil. So Czech Republic was not wealthy in '91.
We had pencils, yeah.
Just pencils. Koh-i-Noor pencils, yeah.
Yeah. We had pencils, maybe something else, maybe erasers, maybe. I don't know.
Speaking of Koh-i-Noor, I think that there's a Koh-i-Noor brush on Photoshop, or maybe it's on Procreate, but it's built in. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's in Procreate. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Koh-i-Noor is a Czech company, a Czech art supply company, and I think Procreate has a Koh-i-Noor pencil in there, which I was surprised to find. So you grew up with the pencil. You started sketching, right?
Yeah, I had pencil. It's the easiest way, but there's nothing special about it. I was what I think I had this. How is it called? Micro pencil or something like that. Yeah.
Like a mechanical pencil that has the tiny lead.
Yeah, that's tiny tip.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that I really loved doing these elaborate drawings. I was just like 3 centimeter of the paper and just drawing like tiny little details of huge scenes, and really detailed. And I just got sink into it, and I was like, wow, And that I remember really well. That it I loved it so much. I loved it.
How were your parents with that? Were they really supportive, or?
Yeah, they were supportive, and I have to thank them because, especially in my high school period, it was like super rough, and they supported me. So I think that was a huge, I'm super grateful to them that they supported me.
Big shout out to Yiji's parents.
Yeah, huge shout out.
Thank you, Mrs. Horacekova.
Horachkova.
Horachkova.
Yeah. And so that's super important, because when parents don't support you, then what can you do? Like, I guess there are other ways you can take part-time jobs and whatever. I don't know, but I had this luck to be born into this family. So yeah, that's my story.
So, when you were having issues in high school, was it because you just were like not liking the classes and you would rather be painting, or was it?
The only thing I knew, or few things I knew, that I tried super hard and it was like painful. It was so painful. Like
Yeah, I
I
can
just
relate to
couldn't.
that.
I tried super hard, but I couldn't. But I wasn't sure what to do instead of it. I was just, so that's like a huge problem. You don't know what to do instead of it. So you're trying, but it was super dark period when I was super lost. And when you are 15 years old or 14 and you're deciding where to go, and basically your whole life you're deciding where to go, but it's not like you're deciding about your whole life, but
It
seems
feels
like
like it. Yeah, it
seems
does.
like it
Yeah,
seems
it
like
does.
this pressure, but um yeah, I survived. And I found what I like. That's important.
There's actually kind of an important lesson there, I think, about, your kind of existential crisis as a 15-year-old. And um, there's a thing that all humans have, which is like an emotional kind of template. Some people call it your comfort zone, or your emotional home, or your emotional temperature range, or whatever. But everyone has like some area that they're comfortable in, or some template that they used to survive to the point that they're at right now. And the thing is when you're ready to make a change, like if you don't have something to replace that stuff, then it becomes this kind of really desperate point, like you want to change, you want to grow, but you don't really know what to replace it with. So I know I'm getting a little deep here in the podcast about
We
that,
can
but
go even deeper.
I would encourage people to, like, if there is a change that you want to make, to definitely spend the time journaling, talking to people, asking your friends, like,
Yeah.
what they think about you right away, and like what your strengths are, like what they think, and then you can kind of get a picture of like, okay, well, if I want to be this person, I'm gonna have to, instead of doing the behavior A, I'm going to have to change that to behavior B. And it's really hard. Like, even when you know what the behavior is, it's really hard because it's so wired into your nervous system in your brain that you really have to every day, like, do something different, and eventually it starts to feel a little bit more natural, but it's definitely hard at first.
Yeah, I think asking questions, like ask questions as much as you can, and really you will get the answers if you ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe not
if
to
you're open.
everything,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you don't ask questions, then like why, you won't get there.
Yeah.
So if you have any problem, ask questions.
So let's talk about your professional life. Like, you're doing digital work. You said you like that's what you do for money. You're doing digital concept design, or?
Yeah, like illustration and basically I'm painting and as well doing like with photos, so kind of more realistic and more painterly style. So, and as well I do kind of a little bit of 3D as a kind of support to that, um, to photo bash, and to digital painting. So yeah, I do like illustration and concept art. Yeah, that's like as everyone basically.
Are you doing that freelance, or do you work for a company?
I do like freelance, but more and more I'm finding that I like more like to work in a studio with people, because yeah, I just love being around people. And nowadays I'm finding that I love to be around people, because I always thought that I'm super introverted and whatnot, but it's not that easy to be like just on your own. You have to have routine, do like rituals, because rituals kind of helping me a lot. So
yeah, definitely that.
What was the question?
I don't even remember the question. Don't worry. Yeah, definitely the ritual, like I call it like an external structure, like, and it's kind of fancy, but like an external executive structure. I mean, I was diagnosed with ADHD, so for me, like, that's, I guess, the technical term for what I use to like keep myself organized. So I mean, I have my planner with the stuff, my digital planner on my phone. It's on my computer. It's on my wall. There's like a alarm set, like I have all these things that like keep me going. And then the rituals, the daily rituals, I mean, despite how your brain is working, or if you do or don't have any kind of like, ADHD or whatever, like it's definitely helpful to have that routine for sure, especially if you're trying to change your behavior. I mean,
Yeah,
it feels good. It feels good to have a routine too. I feel like I always feel like I've accomplished something that day, like right from the start, if I have a morning routine.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like a anchor that when I'm nervous, I do this, and just every day, and you get used to it. And I mean, I found something which I like to do, so it was kind of easier to do. So I have a typewriter, and each morning I write stuff I'm grateful for, and I'm doing it like for half a year and still going strong. And really, for me, it's like even a way of creating, like right from the morning, I create something which I can then come back to. And I always take like the paper I've created like 3-4 months before, and I kind of see, okay, I felt this and that day, and I was grateful for this thing. And it's kind of refreshing, to see your life going. So this is one of my morning routines, and I do like exercise for 10 minutes and
Curling the paintbrushes.
yeah, something like that. It's more like my body needs to lift and do some physical stuff. And I try to like wake up sooner and sooner. So the winter was kind of difficult because it was
dark, yeah.
Dark, yeah. But nowadays I like just doing morning walk, and it's so amazing. Like, especially on the weekends, like no one's on the street, but the sun is there, and my romantic side speaking right now. The sun is there, no one's there, no one's watching this beautiful scene.
Yeah.
You're sleeping. Oh, what the fuck, man? Be there. We see that.
Yeah. It's the golden hour. Yeah, I mean, it's really magical on that point of the day.
And to me, it helped. Andrew Huberman, and he has this podcast, and he's doing neuroscience, and it's really amazing podcast. And he talked about this, getting the sun in the morning into your eyes, getting the light.
Yeah.
It kind of motivated me to wake up sooner.
Oh, will you send that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, if there's an episode on that I've listened to some of his stuff on sleep. It's really interesting.
And I have an episode, but I mean, he talks about it everywhere.
I have really a perfect like setup with the apartment. My studio, my window here looks at the Olshansky cemetery, and then the sun comes up like right behind the cemetery. So in the morning, it's like the colors are real washed out. It's like really washed out blues and pinks, like almost completely desaturated. And then there's like this orange glowing orb, you know? And I just like open my windows and like, man, the half hour, like in that 1/2 hour, it's like 20 different paintings, you know? It's like this, so many different amazing like colors and shadows, and yeah, it's really amazing.
But I don't know, there's something about that morning sun and that and sunset. It's just kind of, there's something in the human that you kind of feel that it's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
At noon it's like whatever, but there's like a new day, and I think the energy, and it's like the temperature is like colder, and you know, it's like you feel the life, like everything's waking up. These days birds are singing like crazy.
Yeah. This is what goes through the head of a painter, by the way, everybody. So speaking of that, let's look at some of your paintings, man. Like, I don't know if you have any pulled up, but I have your website pulled up here. Let me go over to it really quick. I'm just gonna go to the Prague stuff.
Okay, so
and let me see.
Prague.
We'll put these on the screen for everyone who wants to check them out. Man, I mean, we can talk while we talk about the paintings if you want to bring up some of the training that you had, because you were trained by the great Craig Mullins. Yeah. But man, just your control of color is like, I was checking these out right before I called. This one, I mean, it's just so well done, man. Like okay, the one I'm looking at now it's just a couple of arches on a bridge, and there's a building that slants down. I think it's near Holešovice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the thing that caught my eye the most was under the bridge, the shadow, and then right when the shadow gets into the sun, it turns into this like blue. Just little stuff like that. Like that's the thing. Like when you look at a painter, you can just tell that it's good. If you don't know what it is, like if you don't know what's making it good, you can just look at it and say like, wow, that's really good. But you have this really nice blue in the shadow, and then like up under the bridge, there's like almost like an orange underpainting with like just a tiny little bit of rim lighting right there.
Yeah.
It's so nice. It's so subtle.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the reality is about like strong contrast, but as well about like really subtle, small differences if you want to paint in a kind of realistic manner.
And then I want to talk about too, like, all right, well, let's look at the one on the Prague 4 bridge, like the New Sled Bridge. Do you know which one I'm talking about? The sun is coming in from one side.
Yeah, you're looking at the pillar, like.
Well, it's a good composition. You know, people used to jump off that bridge all the time.
That's a great composition. It's the best composition. It's life and death.
You should just paint a body like falling.
There's the human drama, basically.
But there's this like light that you have coming in from the right-hand side, and man, it's like, I don't know, I guess the way that you did the paint stroke or whatever, but you can just feel the light right there.
Yeah, like it was late in the day, and yeah, it was super beautiful. I really like about the painting that you meet so many people, or not so many, but few people ask you questions and whatnot, and they are curious. And each of the painting has like a story which I lived through. So
yeah,
it has so much like added value to me. And I mean, it's kind of good to know the artist. When you're buying the art, it's good to know the artist. And these days I think you have to talk with the artist and talk about the artwork, and really, because I think when you're buying art an artist, you are basically connected in kind of some relationship.
Yeah.
And that piece is between you. So I think I would really like to, if more people bought my art, and I would really love to get to know them and kind of get this relationship going.
Yeah.
Not only just I sell you the art and that's it, give me the money. But you're buying art from me, so why not to get to know each other, like who we are? So these days I'm thinking about this. Sorry from getting from the bridge like into this things.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's just on my mind these days, just because I think it's about the relationship. Yeah.
I love your paintings of just really ordinary objects. Like you have one here of it looks like just a trashy kind of stairway to a bridge. And then you have another one. Let's see, what is this? Oh yeah, the Misty Morning Boat.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's one that's like right away when you look at it, it's kind of like the painting's done, but it's just kind of like an ugly scene. It's like the back way of it's like the Merlin Irish pub, the apartments at dusk. And while you were talking, I was like looking at it, and it has this kind of like dark, maybe not dark, but like kind of dingy lighting to it. And the more I look at it, like the more vibrant the colors get. It's almost like every second I look at it, the colors get more and more vibrant, and I see more and more colors. So I think that's really, that's a master. Like you have to be good to be able to make something like that look good. So I guess I'm wondering, like, what about can you talk a little bit about your training, or maybe your time in the Craig Smollins class, or kind of how you learned about that?
Yeah, I see that there's, of course, no one particular thing which like made it all happen, but I mean, when someone asks me this, I'm like unsure what to say, because it's a years of not knowing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I find something which kind of works, and it kind of you jump.
Yeah.
And when
you
talk
know,
about the Great Mullins,
that's a really great. I just want to like echo that really quickly. This is what mastery is about. It's about 98% of the time not knowing what you're doing. And then there's like 2%, like you'll find something that works and then you start implementing that and you make a jump. And the jump happens like really quickly because like the stuff that you've been learning sinks in finally. And then you have like another 98% of the time on a plateau. And you're working so hard, you think that you should be improving and seeing improvement, but you don't. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, you make a leap. And then again, another, that's like the path of mastery. It's like it's not an upward trajectory the whole time. So anyway, sorry, back to Craig Mullins.
so the Craig Mullins was one of the things which kind of he kind of critiqued my works and my portfolio, and so he gave me lots of feedback. And the stuff he told me, like because it was to me, it was for me, the information, so it clicked.
Oh,
something
are you there?
clicked. Sorry, do you hear me?
Oh, okay. I lost you just for a second, but yeah, go ahead. I can hear you now.
Yeah, so with the Craig Mullins, some of his teaching kind of clicked with me, and like after some years it kind of like connected. Oh my god, okay this is what I wanted. That's it. So he has a kind of I don't know what's I like something about him, so he's like, yeah, he's a good guy, and yeah, his information kind of clicked with me, and it took kind of a lot of time so it sinks in and make it real, but yeah, it definitely helped me because yeah, as you say, I was like stuck, but I needed someone which is a lot better than me to kind of say this is bad, this is bad, this is good.
Yeah.
This is something which can help you, you know. So yeah, so it's good to kind of study on your own, but the other people are really important.
Yeah, I mean, I have to echo that as well. I mean, there's definitely a place to kind of like play around and experiment with what you're learning. I think you definitely have to do that in order to try to find your own way of applying what you're learning. But I recently signed up for a motion design class that's 8 weeks, and it was kind of expensive, and probably not as expensive as the Craig Mullins class, but I signed up for it, and one of my friends, like when I told him how much it was, he's like almost choked on his, and I didn't really have the money, like I didn't have, probably shouldn't have spent the money. And then what happened is I ended up having to buy a new Mac because my old Mac was not able to handle the software. But my point is like I went ahead and paid for the course because at this point in my life, as like in this point in my adulthood, I'm realizing like it's better just to pay the expert to teach you that, because in 8 weeks you're gonna get like their entire life of not everything that they know, but like the whole breadth of their experience, and I know like in this particular class, and I'm sure you can probably vouch for that with the Craig Mullins class, but it's like, man, not only am I learning a lot of stuff like so quickly, but also I'm getting connected with other people who are learning. I'm getting connected with studios. They're giving me references. They're giving me PDFs. They're telling me keyboard shortcuts. They're telling me all these little tricks and tips. And it's like, yeah, I could probably have learned that on my own in like 5 years, but then I would have forgot the thing that I learned 2 years ago.
Yeah.
My computer is reminding me what time it is. So yeah. So anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I kind of cut you off with that, but
when you're learning from YouTube, like it's like one way, and it's super important to have the other human there and kind of get this going, and that's the most effective way I know can learn, So
I mean, it's the same reason people read books, or people are going to YouTube to do the same exact thing. They're just trying to find like the fastest, cheapest way to do it. And yeah, I mean, people, when the class is packaged in a way and the person's main goal is to like really teach you well, as opposed to getting more followers or more, likes or whatever, like you're definitely going to get a better quality, and it's definitely worth it. So we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about how you get through those times where you don't feel like painting. So we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Have you heard of Drawsome.com? Of course you haven't, because it hasn't officially launched yet. But I have talked to Manny Abatizian, the founder, about it in detail, and it's gonna be awesome. The Drawsome app is an exciting new platform that's coming soon for artists and art lovers that is going to change the game. It's a creative social marketplace where artists can post their artwork, receive commissions, and even turn each post into a print-on-demand product that's drop-shipped directly to your customers. That means people can choose if they want your design on a print, mug, t-shirt, whatever, and you don't have to deal with the printing or shipping. You want some of that, don't you? hop on over to drawsome.com. That's DRAWSOME.com and sign up to be the first to receive updates and news as soon as it's launched in iOS, Android, and web. Cool. So welcome back. And yeah, so let's back up a little bit. You were saying that the thing about, one of the sort of romantic things that people think about artists is that like they're just laughing and giggling all the way and skipping while they with their paintbrush. But there's like a lot of times that you just don't feel like painting that day. So, I mean, what percentage is that? Is that half the time or?
I don't know what's the percentage. It depends. If it's like studio work, I'm more like other people really depend on me, or I have the routine, so I don't feel like not working. Just the other people support you. Like, how should I say it? But when I'm doing my freelance, it's kind of difficult to do it on my own. So yeah, it might be like 1/3 of the time I don't feel like it, but so I'm like procrastinating a little bit, delaying the start, and that's not good. That's not good. So, but really, when I get into it, it's kind of easy. So the thing is really, how should I initiate it? So really like setting some kind of, first of all, my environment has to be like ready for it. When I have like tons of stuff, other stuff to do or some other place, it's like disturbing me, and I need quiet. I need just think. I want to just concentrate on that. Mm-hmm. Nothing else. So sometimes I treat myself to listening to podcasts, and that kind of, my brain is less nervous and like, okay, I like the podcast, I can start. So yeah, the podcasts are kind of a bit of mind trick. As well, these days I track my time really precisely, how much time I spend on the work. So I have like something like a Pomodoro timer. I really track each minute of my time I spent on that piece. So, and I found it's really like you value your time, because your time is really precious. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, time is ticking to your death. Because you will die, and that time is really precious. Like we are so lucky we live, even, it's such a luck. And when I waste some time, it's like it never comes back. It never comes back.
Yeah.
So and when I and I found that when I noticed every minute, or not every minute, but really take track of my work time, I'm kind of making sure that I appreciate my time and my work. Mm-hmm. It's not nothing. It's you're spending your attention, your precious life on that, and that's as well. You have to be paid well, for your work. It's not nothing. Like creating like original work, because we are kind of artists, and each time it's something a little bit different or completely different, and it's like man-made. It's like it's not working. It's not like working in factory. So maybe remembering that it's like huge adventure, and it's interesting, and sometimes there are stormy clouds, and you don't want to do it, but just remember how nice it is to create the art, or how nice it is to do something else. And sometimes it's difficult, sometimes I admit it, sometimes I really don't feel like it, and I just take a nap, I just take 20 minutes and just, sometimes it's better to do nothing, I think,
Yeah.
sometimes it's just doing nothing instead of, okay, I should do work, and instead of it I will check emails, and do something else. I found that sometimes it's better, okay, I won't check the emails, I won't even work, I will just do nothing, I'll just, and I found that and my mind gets quieter, and ideas pops out, what can I do about, because sometimes it's like I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and you just have to get away from it. Yeah. Because your mind knows, but you have to give it some space,
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing about time, this has been coming up a lot, and I don't want to harp on it too much because if you've listened to any of the podcasts, like I talk about this all the time. But the Stoics probably, and you've probably heard of Seneca and Marcus Aurelius and all those like imperialistic white guys in Rome. but Seneca wrote this book called On the Shortness of Life, and man, that book is probably, it's like I feel like it's a book that everybody should read like before they leave high school, because early on in my life I just wasted so much time. I mean, even I'm like more productive, I think, than like the average person at any age that I've been. I've always like produced something, some artwork, or worked, or went to school or whatever. But um, I still wasted a lot of time, and I love what you said about keeping track of it, because there is a thing that you're sending a message to your own mind and to your own self, like when you set a timer, like this time is valuable, I'm going to focus on this thing. If someone wants to call, I'll call them back when this 45 minutes or 2 hours is over, or whatever your time limit is. um, and it also feels like I really spent it well, like intentionally, like I'm going to work on this painting or whatever. And at the end of the time, when I hit the stop button, it's like, okay, now I can relax for 10 minutes or whatever. And that's such a good thing. And such an important thing for like young artists, especially, to remember. I think when people get older, they already know when their, older friends start dying or their family starts dying. But the point that I'm getting at here is like the world is awash in money. Like there's always going to be more money. There's always going to be more gold, or whatever cryptocurrency or whatever. But there's just never going to be more time. Like every single moment counts. And if we, you know, in the book in the book On the Shortness of Life, he talks about people are really greedy with their money, but they're really loose with their time. And it really should be the other way around. People should just, definitely be more generous and not so much attached to the money, but they should be more stingy with their time. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I figured out a way to work in
Amen.
the time lecture. Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah, like,
also it's being present too. I mean, I think setting the timer is good for like myself, like whenever I'm working on something so I can really focus on it. But when I'm with people, like you said earlier, we were talking about painting, like you're really paying attention to that scene, like you're really paying attention to the way the light is working or the composition or whatever. And that's important in relationships too, like we really have to like ask the follow-up questions, like, oh, what I think I heard you say is this, and yeah, I mean, this isn't a podcast about communication, but or Buddhism or, Stoicism, but I think that stuff's important. Those concepts are really important.
yes, like we artists, like a few even years ago, I didn't appreciate my time that much. I had no track of it, and like lawyers, they keep like really track of it. Each minute, each call, lots of money, you know, and we artists, like, we put heart into it. We put like so much into it, and so why not to evaluate your time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's really precious.
And if you don't value your time, other people won't. You know, if you don't value your work, if you don't value your time, people will sense that immediately, and they'll take advantage of it right away. Like, don't even show that you have any question about the value of your work or your time, or other people will definitely use it to make their own dreams come true. They'll use your time and your effort and your talent. So there's my there's my lecture. I mean, that goes back to the taking master classes too. You know, it's like, yeah, it's going to be expensive. You know, like you're going to have to save up for it maybe, but would you rather like waste your time and energy for the next 5 years trying to learn that on your own? You know?
Yeah, I mean, investing in yourself, it's like, what can be better? You know, investing into other people is as well really good, but you know, into yourself instead of into some like new car, or I don't know. But
Cocaine. Don't put money in cocaine. Take a self-improvement class instead.
you will feel much better. Okay.
For a shorter period of time.
For sure. It's so much better than so much worse, you know. So, yeah, I mean, freedom. But yeah, investing. Yeah, I had a kind of enough money to invest into myself, so I thought, what's the better way? You know, I can buy like new VR headset, or I can invest it into maybe some courses which are not connected to art, but like self growth, or is it called?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it can be even investing into like other stuff, because that's super important as well, you know.
Yeah.
Not just being concentrated only into art, like, because you know artists can get really just into it, but then you have also family, you have friends.
Yeah. So we're coming kind of close to the end. I'm gonna list everywhere where people can find you on your website, on Instagram, on Behance, all that stuff. But do you have any advice, or sorry, ArtStation, I mean, not Behance. So do you have any advice, or like kind of maybe one important thing that you would tell artists, younger artists? Yeah.
For me, it's like about, I like doing environments, you know, landscapes and whatnot, and I really love it. But there's as well this thing, you know, do figures, do anatomy. This is as well really important. But I think really try to think about what you like the most to do, and you know, be inspired by other artists, be influenced by them, but try to find something which is really deeply connected to you, which you, and try to ask what it is, you know, what you really like about creating art, and maybe try to kind of look on the other from a distance. Maybe that's not it. Maybe you like something else, you know. So it really helped me that I liked what I'm doing, and people contacted me because the work they saw, and because I was doing what I like, then I liked the work as well with the clients. So I guess it's just don't do what you don't like, you know. If you don't like it, but you know, try to do what you like, but as well try to do a little bit of what you don't like, you know, just a little bit of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like,
Just be a little bit flexible, but stick
yeah.
with what you like. Yeah. Because ultimately, like, there's someone out there kind of doing everything, and niching down, finding a niche is like more important. In most cases, I guess if you're going to be a generalist, you'll always have work, but you might not be satisfied. So I think
it's
also,
like,
go ahead.
Chaotic. Like you try to be everywhere, but you're nowhere.
Yeah, and also like with having some people are good at focusing on just one specific thing, but I think having a little bit of diversity keeps you from burning out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool, man. Well, it's awesome to talk to you again. It's good to reconnect, and thanks for doing the podcast. It was a really great talk, and yeah. Any last words?
I mean, have fun, enjoy, like help others,
Serve.
yourself, serve as well.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
Okay.
message.
The great Jiri Horacek.
Yes, yes.
Okay.